November 16th, and we got 9 games on the NHL schedule here today, including an international game kicking off in the afternoon. So we'll break down all the games for today, talk a little bit about the picks that we had last night, as well as get into So Money's Knuckleheads out there in Vancouver. But before we get into all of that, I want to remind people that today's show is sponsored by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to help you do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book, whether that's for games, futures, or player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. So make sure to download the app today. It is available on iOS, Android, as well as on the web. So make sure to go over and check that out. If you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/edgework. It's betstamp.app/edgework. It is available in the link the link is in the description as well, so make sure to click that. If you sign up through this link, it does help support the show. Now, speaking of support the show, before I go even any further here, talked about it yesterday. You guys want watch-alongs and stuff. We're going to bring those back, but we're going to bring them back to the specific channels that they're on. You want hockey watch-alongs? They're here on Edgework. You want basketball? Over on the Board NBA. Football? Over on Forward Progress. So if you want watch-alongs for hockey games, you want to see the content creators from the Edgework show watching along the games at night, whatever it might be, you got to get us to 2,000 subscribers. So if you know somebody who would like this content, who's looking for bets, who likes hockey, if you yourself are watching and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, get it to 2,000, like the stream, does help support. But that's all. That's what I'm going to ask to start here today. All right, let's get into it. Enough of that. Last night, 5 best bets that were given out. We go 2 and 3 on the night. We end up positive on the night still based on how we split up some of the units and stuff. We lose the under 6 and the 6.5, and we lose the Islanders money line in the Canucks Islanders game last night. So money. The Canucks, these guys, he's told us, hey, like, don't worry. We expected a little bit, maybe a loss here or there. I mean, you can't go 82-0 after the game on Saturday night against the Leafs. And the Canucks are right back. Like, could you imagine not being a Canuck right now?
What if they can go? What if they can run the rest of the way here? One thing that so full disclosure, I didn't watch the game live because I was getting my ass kicked playing hockey at that time.
Okay.
However, being the consummate professional that I am, I did wake up earlier than I usually do so I can watch the game. Right now, I did watch the game. There is something concerning here that's creeping into the Canucks game, and it's that they're getting off to slower starts. They're relying on Demko to keep them in the game, and then as the game goes on, they're taking control, which is fine for now, sitting here in like mid-November, but that's not a habit that you want to get into. So I'm sure it's been addressed. Rick Tocchet has shown that he's very on top of these kind of details. So I think that's probably something that they'll be on top of. And it wasn't Demko's best game, but he kept them in it, right? And as a goalie, that's all you can do. Like just don't give up that 3-0 goal, right? And
Yeah.
so and as that game wore on, the Canucks showed themselves to be the better team. They did start taking control of that game, even though it was an overtime win. So, and that's just because Sorokin had a good game as well. So, I know that it's coming. I keep saying this all the time. I know that it's coming, and realistically, like that's probably a game that should have probably gotten away from the Canucks early. But credit to them, they're just staying in these games, and they're just playing their way back in. They couldn't do it against the Leafs, but they're just playing themselves into the game. So enjoy it. I just want to accumulate as many points as possible here, and then hopefully just ride it the rest of the way into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, and I know we lose that bet yesterday on Islanders money line that we had there, but we also lose on the under 6.5, where we split those ones up, and that was the result. I know Matt Alber was losing his mind last night with the power play success rate that was going on. It seemed like every power play that was taken, there was a power play goal. Some those just happened, but we still finished positive on the night, still up on the season so far. through 134 bets this year, 65 and 69, a 2.7% ROI on the season. If you do want to see that, you can head over to the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ track all of our picks throughout this year and dating back into last season too. Before we get into today's games, I'm going to throw a question out there to you guys, and it'll be more of a baseline question as we approach this weekend and one of the games here today as well, because I see it in the chat and I think it's worth bringing up. Matthew Bingham saying, "Morning, fellas. Curious if there are any angles for Sweden games the next few days. Ice surface / size or travel related edges, favoring unders, overs, or in any meaningful way. Cheers." I think this is a good question, especially because listening to you guys, listening to everyone across the Edgework show, no matter what day it is, everyone approaches things a little bit differently, but more specifically, you kind of look at things and say, hey, typically a team on the road, team on this travel schedule, adjusting time zones, these things can play a factor into your handicapping. Now you're going to take these two teams and shift them over out of North America into a different continent, different time zone, different ice surface, different size rinks. There's a lot of different adjusting factors here that you have to take into account. So, Money, how do you go about handicapping something like this and kind of approaching these games? Do you change it? Do you look at them differently, or is it just business as usual?
For me, it's business as usual right now because I need more of a I need more of a sample size in these games, right? In terms of any anything that stands out, what I would say is that if there's if there's like a travel situation, like one team has gone out early or another team has stayed late or whatever, right? Like I think that those are the kind of things that I would look out for, but I don't really see those, right? So and like and like especially now, like where both these teams are on the same or are on the same schedule as well. So nothing stands out. Um, I haven't done too much work on it because they're just not a large enough sample size for me to really dig in. But as we as we build that as we build those data points, it would be something I would look at. But it's just the sample size is too small for me right now to work with.
Well, and Russ, you're looking at a game here on the schedule today at 2 o'clock. You're looking at the Detroit Ottawa game, and you actually have a best bet in this game. So good to you here for it. Kind of what is it that you're looking at, and then do you have anything that you're looking at? As so many says, kind of just following along, the sample size too small to make any adjustments. Business as usual. What are your thoughts here between the Sens and the Red Wings? 2 p.m. this afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic question. It's something I definitely looked into before betting this game. I think Avicii Arena, which used to be Ericsson Globe, if you look at just the pure dimensions, the ice rink seems to be a little bit wider than NHL arenas. It's not a ton, but I think generally speaking, this could space out play, creating a little bit more difficulty playing defense, a little bit more of an open game. So that's something that I was certainly looking into. And then just like so many said, it's a fairly small sample size, but going back since 2017, it looks like over-unders are 6, 4, and 2 to the over. So there's a small advantage there. I was just sort of looking to make sure that, goals could be scored over there, that the ice seemed to be similar to here in the States or in Canada. And so, so just I think there are a couple things you can look at, specifically rink size. But yep, that's the way I'm going on this game. We played the over 6.5 right around -130, just short of -130. That would be the cutoff for me here. I think anything higher than that, I would be looking to play the plus money sevens. But I think if you can get -130, that's the way to go. If you watched the show before, I'm pretty high on both these teams scoring and low on their defense. In just the last, you look at both these games and they're both over teams. And, since we have a little bit of data going into the season, we're 15 games in or so, I like to look at the last 5 games to kind of see which way these teams are trending. And last 5 games, Detroit is first in goals per game. The Sens are fourth in goals per game. And then Detroit is fourth in goals allowed, and the Sens are fifth in goals allowed. Both of these teams are getting up and down the ice. Both of these teams are putting shots on the net. And then Ville Husso hasn't been playing very well, but we do avoid him here getting James Reimer in net for the Red Wings. And then Korpisalo has not been playing great for the Senators. So I like this matchup. I like this game to go over. I could easily see one team getting to 5 goals, which certainly helps that. Yeah, I think this isn't a not a very complicated breakdown. I think anybody that has watched could have guessed this is the way I was going, go over. But it's fun to have some afternoon hockey, and it's fun to root for goals. Detroit's 10-5 this year on over unders, and Sens are 9-3-1. So these are two over teams, and I'm happy to pay this little bit extra price to get 7 goals here.
So as you mentioned, kind of the cutoff there at minus 130. You see, if you shop around, you can get minus 130 pretty widely available, as well as some prices even below there. So if you do look around, which we recommend you do using the BetStamp app, you can find better prices than that even, but we will lock in at minus 130. Now, Russ, you said once it gets to 7, or if you're looking around there and it's beyond the minus 130, and maybe now you're going to start to look for some of the 7s, you'd be looking for some plus money. What exactly would you need on that number if somebody later on in the day is going to be watching and saying like, hey, I'd be interested in playing this, but I don't have the number right now? What do you need to get on a 7?
Yeah, I think if those minus 130s disappeared and say you were looking at minus 135s or minus 140, I would just try and find a plus money 7. Obviously, I would think, anything over even like plus 105, plus 110 is probably as far as I would go on that. Honestly, I think we saw some, time later in the year where these Ottawa Senators, these games were getting to 7 even money. And that's where I think this number probably should be is over under 7, minus 110 both ways. So I think anything that's plus money on the 7, I would take that if the minus 130 you can't get to. I don't foresee it moving because it already has moved probably 10 cents. So I don't think it's going to go up anymore. If anything, it might drift back down and you get a little bit of buyback. But yeah, I think, if I would put 130 as the cutoff, and if you cannot find one, don't have access to one of those, plus 110 over 7 is a great price to take.
All right, there you go. There's a way to look at that one. Before we move off this game, any thoughts on this 2 p.m. game here?
Yeah, excuse me. I do show a small edge on the Sens right now. Up to about 130. What are we seeing up there? 120.
Minus 120.
Yeah, I would play the Sens at 120. I think that Russ touched on the goaltending there. Um, yeah, I'm. It's not a big play, but I do show an edge on the Sens, and if we can get that 120, I am actually gonna bet them right now. It's gonna move on screen just now.
Okay, so there you go. So before it does, full unit here, Sens minus 120. So money, we're good for a full unit on that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right, there you
Yep,
go. So
that's
two best bets in
correct.
this 2 p.m. There you go. Perfect. Oh, wow. We're going to go the double best bet route here on Edge. We're
Get like a
traditionally not being as
5-2 Sens win. Be beautiful.
yeah. Okay. All right. There you go. So we'll go Sens money line minus 120 and the over 6.5 minus 130. Double best bet here in this Sens game, the 2 p.m. game. So you start off your day. Hopefully we'll be walking away from this one feeling pretty good about ourselves. But Sens money line minus 120, which highly recommend people go and get to as soon as possible, especially if you're watching live right now. And the over 6.5 minus 130 available in that game. So two best bets. Now, moving on here, another game. We'll go later in the day now because I know somebody's looking at some stuff later on. Now, a team that did play against the Vancouver Canucks last night, the New York Islanders continue their road trip here on the road against the Seattle Kraken in Seattle tonight. Seattle currently sitting minus 110. You can find the Islanders best price available plus 100, but if you're looking around and you don't have all the sports books available, some of those minus money, minus 102s, 05s, minus 10s. That's why you need to shop around. But that you see a total currently sitting at 6, and that would be juiced to the under, minus 114 on the under 6. Is there any way that you'd be looking to get involved from a betting perspective into this Seattle Islanders game right now?
Yeah, I do like the Islanders here. I think that if we can get any plus money, that would be the way I would go. Are we seeing plus money up there yet?
Yeah, on Pinnacle there.
Yeah, so I do like the Islanders. Seattle, I've talked about them pretty much every show. I just I don't think they're a very good team. I think that they had a lot of shooting luck last season. We're seeing a lot of that come into play now. They're also a team that doesn't have any game breakers, which you kind of need in the NHL now. And if you don't have that, you need exceptional goaltending, and they don't have that either, right?
Mhm.
So um, I I don't know what Seattle does well. I don't know who their team is. I don't know what their identity is. So I just and and if I'm getting this opportunity to bet an Islanders team, which yeah, they haven't played well, but I think that a lot of times they get discounted when it's Varlamov's crease, which he should start tonight, and I I think that the market really undervalues him a lot of times. He's not bad. He's not as bad as 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 what the market suggests the differences between him and Sorokin. So plus money, Varlamov and net against and both teams are off overtime losses. So there's no there's no edge there except maybe the Islanders
Yeah.
right on the travel. So yeah, I'm with the Islanders here. Give me that plus money.
All right, there you go. Lock down in plus money, plus 100 on the New York Islanders money line. And someone said he doesn't know what Seattle's identity is. Well, Connor Hartle has the answer. Seattle's identity is a team who loses me money regardless if I'm backing or fading them. So
Yeah.
there you go, Russ. What are your thoughts on Seattle and that they're them in this game here tonight against the Islanders?
Yeah, I think it was well said by so many. This is an Islanders team who has not been playing very well, but it seems like their numbers are trending up, certainly, and they're just getting really bad puck luck. I normally like to fade this team with Sorokin in net because he's just has not looked himself this year. But Varlamov is a completely different story. He's playing very well. So if the Islanders are all the way up to eighth in expected goals for, which is 10 different than their actual goals for this year. So you can see that there should be some positive regression coming for the Islanders. And then, yeah, if you have these teams pretty much even, which is what I kind of have, and then you put in the goaltending, Varlamov's been seventh in goals saved above expected. I'm sorry, and then Grubauer has been 52nd. Grubauer has just played absolutely awful this year, and they've actually been going to Joey Decord. It seems like a little bit more, but obviously he played last night. So yeah, I tend to agree. I think if you have two similar teams, but you have the advantage in net for the Islanders, that's the way I would look. And I think so many broke that down pretty well.
All right, perfect. There you go. Another best bet locked in here. 3 so far today on the show. If you do enjoy the content, please make sure to hit that like button as well. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Trying to get to 50 likes before the end of the show here today. So money's camera. Sorry, I just got a message in the background saying
What's
so
happening to the
money's camera is on one today. You just keep going in and out. And sorry, that's
It's
yeah.
a, it's indicative of how I played last night.
Moretto saying so money doing the show today from underwater. Sorry. All right, back to the games. Sorry. You can track all the picks that you've given out through the course of this year. In the BetSamp app, in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ, you can see all of our picks come into real time there. All right, a couple more games here for best bets that we've got, but 3 so far. Hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. Let's get to 50 before the end of the show. Next game, Russ. Go over to you. This is a team that actually these are 2 teams I feel like we've heard you give that breakdowns for a ton over the last year. Now they're going head to head here tonight. The New Jersey Devils, Pittsburgh Penguins. How are you looking to attack this game?
Yep, I do. I like both these teams, and I certainly like the Devils before they had all the injuries. But I think the Pens are a solid team, and that they will start winning here in bunches as well. But no, the way I'm looking here is over 6.5. We played right around -120, which has moved a little, but I think exact same as the previous breakdown. I'd play it right up to -130. Yeah, I think Pinnacle usually has the best price. -127 is just fine. If you have access to some of those other rogue books, you can see a -120 up there, a -125. But yeah, this is we were talking before we went live, and this is one of the best games of the night in my opinion. I think this game and then the Kings Panthers games are the two best games of the night. This should be a very, very fun back and forth game. This is not a complicated breakdown either. Two of the best offenses in the NHL and two semi, I think the Pens are decent on defense, but the Devils are struggling on defense without two of their best players. And then you take in the goalie situation for the Devils, and it's just absolutely terrible. 28th in save percentage. It doesn't matter who we get in goal here. I'm expecting it's Vanacek, who's 62nd in goals saved above expectations. And both these teams are top 10 in goals scored the last 10 games. Then you go into a little more detail in the last 5 games. Pittsburgh is second in shots on goal. The Devils are fifth in shots on goal. And then Pittsburgh is first in expected goals for, and New Jersey Devils are second in expected goals for the last 5 games. So these teams are just putting tons of shots on net. They're actually getting, a ton of shots to go in. The Devils have one of the best power plays, the best power play in the league. The Pens don't commit a ton of penalties, which is another reason that I sort of like them. I actually think that is kind of the side I would side with, but I've certainly been way better on totals this year. So yeah, I think this number probably should be 7, probably even money both ways. So like I said before, I would cut this off right at minus 130. And then if you don't have access to a minus 130, go with with over 7 plus 110. This is it's a fairly straightforward handicap. The Devils are 11-3 to the over this year. This is going to be a fun game, and I hopefully we see a shootout, a ton of goals. I would love a 3-3 game here in like the third period, and then just be able to just call it a win. So yep, over 6.5 is the way I'm going here.
All right, another best bet locked in, and so money. Any thoughts here on this total, or would there be a side that you'd be looking to back?
No, I do agree with Russ's take here on the over. I think that both of these teams are profiling that way as well. But yeah, I got nothing here.
All right, fair enough. Now, one more game that we have lined up for best bets. It's not a Tuesday, but I think we've kind of adopted it here on the Thursdays as well between the Wild and the LA Kings. We are going to be looking at the LA Kings game here tonight. At home against the Florida Panthers, Kings minus 123, a total of 6.5 right now. That is juiced to the over. You see minus 127, best price available. The under plus 116. So, Money, what are your thoughts on the LA Kings here tonight at home and their matchup against the Florida Panthers?
I am certain that Russ is going to agree with me here, but I am on the Kings here. They're a team that, after a kind of a slow start, they have put it together. They're playing very well right now. A couple of results the last couple of nights weren't good, but they still played well through them. So this is a team that I am looking to bet. I will bet them, and we can go ahead and lock them in. I see a fairly big edge here on the Kings, and with even with Florida, right? Like they are on a bit of a winning streak here, but they beat Columbus, Washington, and Chicago in that streak. They also have a nice win against Carolina as well. So we're not going to take anything away from them. However, Carolina's play is dipping a bit right now as well. So I am on the Kings here on LA Kings Thursday.
Yeah, I know. We took it over from Tuesdays and made them Kings Thursdays now. Matt Russell doesn't get those games anymore, so we'll take advantage of them over here. And I see chat agreeing with us a bunch. Kyle Hintland, LA Moneyline, Connor Hartle, Kings. And there you go. Kings Tuesdays and now Kings Thursdays. Jordan on the Kings. Seems like we've got a lot of people backing us here on the Kings tonight. Russ, are you in agreement with So Money in the chat?
Yep, certainly. My numbers don't show quite enough edge to make it a bet myself, but that's certainly the way I would lean. And I was doing my numbers last night, running everything, and I made the Kings right around minus 124. And I'm like praying that they open this minus 110 or something silly like they usually do. But you can see Vegas shifting a little bit. The market is getting a little bit more respect for these Kings every week, it seems like. So I was praying they would open this minus 110 or even lower, and I could hammer the Kings. Unfortunately, I'm right on market with this. But yeah, when you look at both these teams, they are very, very similar. I actually think both teams are playing great defense. When you look at the metrics, both these teams are top 5 in goals allowed. And, they're both playing very, very well. But then, the one difference, just like I spoke about before, is in goaltending. Sergei Bobrovsky is not playing very well. 34th in goals saved, above expectation. And Cam Talbot is playing great. He's taken over the starter's net, and he's 8th in that same metric. So I think there's an advantage there. You got the Kings at home. So, yep, that's the way I would lean. I would certainly not look any other way. So, yep, let's go Kings.
All right, there you go. And this is just perfect, boys. As the as the chat is mentioning here, Moretto specifically, we're all Kings. Panthers by 5. That Jeremy saying that settles it. Panthers max bet. Yeah, this is one of those ones where we're all high on the Kings, and it'll be like when at least look. I'll say this. At least it's not like when Matt Alber said the Canucks are frauds. And I think he said he was sick of them or something. And we were on the Preds. Everyone was on the Preds. Matt Russell, Moretto, Matt Alber, and we swept the board with Preds. And, of course, what did they do? They lost to the Canucks that night. But nobody here said anything about the Panthers being frauds. So I think we can, wash that one off ourselves and keep the mojo rolling here tonight, and hopefully get ourselves a Matt Albert paid for his mistakes. Hopefully we can get ourselves a good a winning night here. But if you do want to track all the picks, you can head over to the BetStamp app, Find Better section, Edgework HQ. Before we wrap this one up here, boys, any games that you're looking out there at right now and just kind of thinking or waiting on information, you're waiting for a number to get there, waiting for markets to move, anything that you're kind of just waiting on right now that you might play throughout the rest of the day but isn't at the point right now as of watching the show that it's best bet worthy?
I was hoping for the Canucks to be a little bit higher. I think that Markstrom is playing very well. That's the reason why I haven't bet it right now. But I think that there is a over adjustment here to the Canucks being on a back-to-back against a Calgary team that not only are they off a road trip, but they're also not playing well, right? Like they got the win against Montreal, but it's not like they played well in that game. Markstrom really stole that game, but I need a little bit higher on the Canucks, so I'm hoping that more Flames money comes into the market. If I get the Canucks at about plus 135, that's where my strike point would be.
All right, fair enough. So Canucks 135 or better there against the Calgary Flames tonight. And then Russ, anything for you that you're kind of waiting on at this point?
Yeah, I like that angle on the Canucks. I was certainly looking at them and kind of surprised to see the Flames take a ton of money tonight or overnight and this morning. I definitely would, I would go against that market move. But yeah, pretty typical looking at another over between the Coyotes and the Blue Jackets. Both these teams are just terrible on defense, have not stopped anything at all, getting really, really bad goaltender play. But the issue is they really don't have a ton of scorers themselves. So I'm kind of sort of just watching this number, and I still need to break this down a little bit. That is certainly a game that I could have on my card this evening. We're just hoping for a lot of goals tonight, basically, in all the games. But no, other than that, I do agree with the Canucks look. Yeah, I think that number should probably be a little bit lower on the Canucks. Just even with DeSmith in goal, I think that they should probably be lined a little bit more even with the Flames. But yeah, that's really all I'm looking at. I think the two overs and then the two money lines is a great, or three money lines is a great great clip of games. So I'll keep it at that for now. But that's kind of where my head is at.
All right, perfect. There you go. Those are best bets for the day. And I mean, at this point, Russ is maybe suggesting the Grand Salami.
Yeah, absolutely. I was absolutely thinking that.
All the goals scored tonight. Well, let's recap our best bets and what we're looking at for tonight, because we do have 5 NHL plays locked in for the games. First and foremost, we're going to start with the Ottawa Senators at 2 p.m. money line against the Detroit Red Wings, minus 120 there for a full unit. Then we're also going to look in that game at the over 6.5, -130 between the Red Wings and the Senators. Then moving on to the 7 p.m. slate, we're taking the Devils Penguins over 6.5, -127, full unit there. Then in the 10 o'clocks, we got the Islanders money line +100 against the Seattle Kraken, full unit as well. And finally, the LA Kings -123 money line against the Florida Panthers, full unit there as well. So 5 best bets for today, 2 of which are at 2 o'clock, 1 and 7, 1 at 10, 1 at 10:30. All the bets spread out throughout the day here. So make sure get those picks in now. If you do want to track us throughout the day, you can find that in the BetStamp app, as I've mentioned a few times here in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ. Now, a couple other things coming up on the schedule here today that I just want to make sure people are aware of before we hop on out of here, because there is a lot of content coming up through the day that you can catch here on the Hammer Betting Network, whether it is through the Edgework channel or through other ones. But if you're looking, you can see coming up 11:30 on the board NBA, player prop analysis and free picks. You can find that with Jacob Grimenia and Pips NBA. Then forward progress, 2 p.m. Hitman, Eric Eager, Jason coming up on there talking about the market, Survivor, the Thursday night football game, 2:30 p.m. Back on the board, Jacob Grimenia, Kirk Evans breaking down what's going on all around the NBA. Maybe some best bets there as well. Then the new episode of Circles Off coming out at 4 p.m. this afternoon. And then finally, the NFL Watch Along with Rob Pizzola, Eric Eager, Barry Horse, Kirk Evans, and Drew Dinsick, 8 p.m. kicking off for the Thursday night football game. So make sure to head on over to our other Hammer HQ accounts if you like money, if you like entertainment, if you like insight into the leagues, teams, all that kind of stuff. Make sure to check those shows out. But thank you so much to everyone who tuned in here today. Appreciate it. So money. Russ, thank you guys so much for your time as always. For everyone out there, if you enjoyed the show today, hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. We look forward to doing more content. Liking and subscribing does help us do so. So thank you to everyone who tuned in. Enjoy the rest of the shows for today. Enjoy the games tonight. Good luck on your bets, and let's have a day.